You know what makes my nipples hard enough to cut diamonds? That's right, it's affordably priced Samsung smartphones. Oof, get out of here you bloody tease before I shred my t-shirt to bits. And I'm a 10 out of 10 on the perky scale right now because Samsung just launched its latest Galaxy A series blowers, the A37 and the A57. Your Uncle Spurt has had a proper fondle to see how they stack up, as well as what's changed versus last year's A36 and A56. So here's my early thoughts ahead of my full in-depth reviews, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do poke subscribe, ding the old notifications bell. Cheers! Now starting with design, and the Galaxy A57 is the thinnest Samsung A series handset yet, although no, we're not quite talking S25 Edge levels. But it does measure in at a pretty skinny 6.9mm, while the 7.4mm A37 is the same thickness as before. And that Galaxy A57 also boasts slimmer bezels than before, as well as its cheaper sibling the A37, although they're not quite symmetrical. Those bottom bezels definitely a wee bit chunkier. That Galaxy A57 certainly looks and feels more premium compared with earlier A series handsets. You've still got that metal frame as well, further adding to the premium vibes compared with the plastic frame on the A37. But they're both pretty hardy. Both the A37 and the A57 sport Gorilla Glass Victus Plus up front and around back. But it is once again an extremely shiny arse with a gloss finish. That's available in a handful of different colours, 4 per model. So you can grab the A37 in awesome charcoal, awesome grey green, awesome white and awesome lavender, which is the hero model. Whereas the A57 can be snaffled in awesome navy, that's the hero for this one, as well as awesome icy blue, awesome grey and awesome lilac. So much awesome, I think my dick just exploded. Awesome might be slight overkill, but I do really love the navy and the icy blue A57 tones. While for me it's the grey-green model of the A37 that really stands out. But of course you've got to choose your tone carefully because on some of them the glossy arse means that smudgy, nasty griminess certainly stands out a bit more clearly. Oh, and Samsung has also upgraded the water resistance for this generation. So the previous gen was IP67 dust and water resistant. This generation IP68 rated. So that means these phones can be submerged in an even deeper body of water for even longer. Now you get a good bit of Samsung's own OneUI 8.5 out of the box. Now on both models, Sammy is offering 6 full years of OS updates and security patching. Although if you're one of those corporate-y, suity types and you get a B2B model, you'll get an extra year chucked on top of that. Less great news on the storage front, sadly, certainly if you've got your eye on that Galaxy A37 model, because last year's A36 came with 256 gigs of storage as standard, whereas it's actually been downgraded for the A37 to just 128 gigs. You'll have to tuck some extra dollar bills into Samsung's G-string for the 256 gig model, though thankfully the A57 still comes as standard with 256 gigs, can be upgraded to 512 gigs. And no, before you ask, there's bugger all love for micro SD memory cards once again, but you do get a bit of eSIM support, huzzah. And of course these Galaxies are stuffed to the guts with lots of AI shenanigans, including full Gemini, Bixby and even Perplexity support. And both these blowers absolutely chock full of Samsung's own AI shenanigans as well, although you get a couple of bonus features on the A57 that are missing from the A37, including Best Face, which can get rid of any gun and blinking type shenanigans, make you look as lovely as possible, or in my case just a bit less shit. And also another camera feature, Auto Trim, which can cut down any longer videos into select highlights ready for sharing. Annoyingly, however, there doesn't seem to be any sign of the excellent call screening feature which Samsung introduced with its Galaxy S26 series, which is especially good if you find yourself constantly hounded by random spammy bollocks. And here's hoping that Samsung isn't keeping it S series only. We will see that feature trickle through in an update. As for the display tech, well, it's a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED panel on the Galaxy A37 versus a Super AMOLED Plus panel on the A57. Now, according to Samsung, the difference here is that the AMOLED Plus panel is slightly thinner and consumes a bit less power. Now, I've got to say, there's certainly no obvious visible difference between the two. They both pump out rich, vivid visuals as usual. And you once again have the same Full HD Plus resolution, so not quite as crispy as some rivals. but it'll do the job for you, a bit of YouTube, Netflix, gaming, etc. You got a higher peak brightness for both of these screens as well, now just shy of 2000 nits. Certainly did the job against the fierce studio lights we were shooting against. And it's probably helped along by Samsung's Vision Booster tool, which is slapped on both as well. You got a 120Hz refresh rate maximum, although once again limited PWM dimming. And you got a decent pair of stereo speakers slapped on this pair as well. Bluetooth 5.3 support on the A37 versus Bluetooth 6.1 on the A57. As for the brains of the operation, well, you probably won't be massively shocked to hear that it's Samsung own Exynos silicon slapped in the pair of these. It's the fresh new Exynos 1680 for the Galaxy A57, whereas the Galaxy A37 gets a bit of a hand-me-down. It's got the Exynos 1480, which was previously slapped inside of 2024's Galaxy A55. Now, starting with the Galaxy A57, that Exynos 1680 chipset seems to offer a slight boost to the CPU and GPU performance versus the previous A56. So hopefully we'll be able to reliably play Wuthering Waves on the higher graphic settings. As for the Galaxy A37, well, the previous generation, the A36, wasn't particularly great when it came to gaming. You got a big GPU boost now with that Exynos 1480. So it should be capable when it comes to a bit of Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves, although you will have to keep it on the lower graphic settings, no doubt. And both these phones use LPDDR5X RAM, which is a particularly big boost for that A37, as the A36 used DDR4. Although the base model comes with a mere 6 gigs of the stuff, so you might want to upgrade to 8 gigs if you are going to be doing a good bit of gaming. Whereas the A57 comes with a choice of 8 gigs or 12 gigs. And yes, the Galaxy A57 certainly blasted through this crappy gem matching game like an absolute superstar. But stay tuned for my full review to see if it can cope with Wuthering Waves and more intensive stuff. Fingers crossed, should do all right, and hopefully should be fine if you're gaming for an hour, 2 hours at a time as well, because you've now got an even larger vapor chamber, 13% larger than the A56 to be precise. As the vapor chamber smushed into the A37 is apparently the same size as the previous generation, so a bit smaller than the A57s. That's despite the fact that the A57 is of course thinner. Samsung also reckons it's made a couple of other wee tweaks and improvements when it comes to the rest of the cooling tech. And the difference between the A37 and the A57 in terms of performance quite clear when you conduct my patented camera shutter test. As the A57 quite happy with a bit of rapid fire shutter action, whereas the A37 catches up with it quite quickly. You get a proper bit of processing lag. Now for the comms, where you've got Wi-Fi 6E support on the Galaxy A57, slightly downgraded on the A37 to just Wi-Fi 6. But no upgrades at all on the battery tech. You've got a 5000 mAh cell stuffed into both again, with 45 watt wired charging. Still no love for wireless charging, which is particularly a shame for the Galaxy A57. I was hoping that they would sneak that in there, especially as even the bloody iPhone 17e can do that this generation. And frankly, that phone is a massive heap of donkey bollocks. And not much news on the camera front either. The Galaxy A57 sports the same triple lens tech as before, although the A37 now boasts a larger sensor for the main camera, now the exact same sensor as the A57. And of course, as you've got a bigger NPU on both the A37 and the A57 compared with the previous generation, you've now got upgraded image processing for both as well, so you should notice some differences. It's a 50 meg main shooter on both. You've got a 12 meg ultra wide angle snapper on the A57 versus the more basic 8 meg ultra wide angle on the A37. And then they both also sport a 5 meg macro snapper. My absolute favourite, and sadly no telephoto shooting on either of them. It is digital cropping all the way. If you want a telephoto shooter on a mid-ranger though, definitely check out Nothing's excellent Phone 4a and Phone 4a Pro, which I just reviewed. Yeah, apparently you can expect improved HDR photo capture with both the A37 and the A57. Apparently the A37 has also caught up with the A57 when it comes to portrait snaps and separating your subject from the background for a lovely bokeh style effect. I will of course be fully testing and reviewing the A37 and A57, so check back soon to see if that really is the case. And just like the previous generation, you've got a 12 meg selfie camera on both the Galaxy A37 and the A57. Huzzah! As far as pricing here in Blighty goes, well, the Galaxy A37 once again coming in at £399, so no price hike, but of course bear in mind you get half the storage now compared with the previous generation. But to somewhat make up for that, you do at least get the faster memory, you've got the upgraded chipset, a few other little improvements here and there. As for the Galaxy A57, well, a slight price hike for that one, 529 quid that starts out now compared with 499 the previous generation. And both should be available right now to pre-order. I'll try and remember to chuck a link down in the video description for all the pre-order deals and discounts and other shenanigans. But are you tempted by the A37 or the A57? It'd be great to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. As I say, stay tuned for a full review. Please do box subscribe, ding that notifications bell, and have yourselves a ruddy, wonderful rest of the week. Cheers, everybody. Love you.